DramaCityProductions.com.
You are plugged in for the Podcast Wrestling Society, where you can get dynamic weekly pro wrestling and MMA related content. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at PODWRES Society so that you can stay in the know.
Faith is the place, and the sky's the limit.
And if you like what you hear, give us a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button.
Woo! 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 Woo!
Now, your host, he is the one and only Troy Adams.
New Wrestling Wednesday. It's the Podcast Wrestling Society, and we are taking over. I'm the loving leader, benevolent host, and Midwest monster. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Say hello to the Troy guy. And joining me here today, he's the medium nasty to my small nasty. He is the Kevin Nash to my Scott Hall. He's Greg. What up, Greg?
What up? Why does it gotta be nasty?
Well,
the hell?
What else is it gonna be? They've seen our pictures.
There's like a bunch of stuff.
We've got to get more Big Show content.
No, we don't. Last week's was miserable enough.
How dare you? You know what? I don't even know where you're coming from anymore with this stuff. But anyway,
no.
Last week's episode,
that's it, and that's all.
Last week's episode, ladies and gentlemen, on the Big Show, we haven't really had a chance to talk about it at all because, any feedback, because it was in the can. It hasn't even posted yet.
I'm like, who the hell is going to give feedback on that crap? And if you do, I understand if you knock it.
I'm sure we're going to get some feedback from Ramon. I mean, I had some happy memories for him in that episode. So,
happy memories, happy endings, whatever. Anyways, I'm getting a letter.
It's like that's the day that my fandom died. But
or grew, whatever.
Oh my gosh, we're not going there.
Well, we'll know if you listen now.
Oh yeah, and this is at the beginning of the show. It's not even like buried in there somewhere, but kind of like Vince McMahon was buried in the Big Show's ass.
Oh my God!
Got it in.
Yeah, so did he.
Oh my God. Anyway, go back and listen, ladies and gents. That was an interesting episode. I had fun. Don't blame me, okay? Greg was the one that was like, we need to do a whole episode of this.
I said no such thing.
Moving on to the subject at hand today, we're talking about the nWo, but because the show last week was put in the can quite early, because we're just trying to pre-record some stuff here just to make sure that if we have any incidents of stuff not matching up in our schedules, that we're not SOL again or doing a best of. So,
or if TJ forgets to hit record, whatever. No.
Well, that was one of the issues, but yeah, we're talking about the nWo and the WWE because you all voted for them. I put it on a poll, bro. You all voted. So,
you put it on a poll. There was 3 boxes, and you picked that one, bro.
Yeah, and it was the
old San Francisco 49er match.
Which Greg was there for, by the way.
Oh, God.
I feel like that's a new running gag. For me, it's I have a Jax figure of him, and for you, it's I was there at that show.
Yeah.
And it's
see how many Jax figures we get into. I got a feeling we're going to get a couple.
Perhaps. You might be right. But, yeah, we didn't get a chance last week, by the way, because of all the craziness, to talk about this because it happened after we recorded. But Silver King passed away in the ring. And
yeah, I didn't know it was in the ring until you told me that. That was terrible.
Yeah.
I had no clue.
And, I mean, it's got to suck for Hoovy. Yeah, because for those of you that don't know, he was wrestling Juventud Guerrera in a match in England, of all places. But yeah, so Silver King passed away.
And what sucks is Huey already gets a lot of crap for being reckless. So,
well, and the Wrestling Observer guys were not very kind to Hoovy, and I mean, I can kind of see their point.
Well, wasn't he the single greatest wrestler in the world at one point, though? To them?
Oh my God, yeah, that I don't even.
That was actually said, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think they said he was the greatest wrestler of the year 98, 99, something like that. I don't know. Insanity. Like, I sent that to multiple people who actually watched WCW consistently back in the day, and they just, like, sent me back a bunch of LOLs and WTFs and whatever. So, it's not just you and me. It's, like, multiple people. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I can understand possibly giving Hoovy a ration of crap in some instances, but it's like... the only reason is because they said and I didn't watch the videos. I don't really want to see a man die, but there are videos floating around on the internet of what happened, and I guess Silver King was on top in the match, and he just collapsed, and Hoovy just kind of like went with it, and he was like, oh, I got to get the pin in, and he like powered him over onto his back, and then pinned him, and then the referee like held up right before the 3 count because that's not the finish, and then he realized, hey, this guy isn't moving, and he counted 3 and ended it, and then Hoovy went and like celebrated his win. I don't know, man.
I mean, I'm sure he didn't know he was dead, or...
My only thing is, like, if the dude just like collapsed and he like is not responding to you or the referee, probably shouldn't be like, hey, let's finish it up. You should probably be like, throw up the X, But it's a weird situation, and Uncle Dave brought up the fact, he's like, well, this kind of stuff doesn't happen frequently anywhere, but the times that it does happen, you realize that these indie shows that can't afford to have doctors on site, this kind of stuff is dangerous, because he brought up the fact that, like, Jerry Lawler, when he had his heart attack, if they didn't have a doctor right there on hand, he would have died.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's.
I mean, he said himself. I believe Lawler said that himself.
Yeah, I mean, they barely kept him alive, but they kept him alive enough to where he wasn't dead by the time he reached the actual hospital. And that's, that's better than in this situation. From what I heard, what the Mexican authorities are reporting is that he had a stroke and then a heart attack, or a heart attack and then a stroke. But some combo, and both are very bad in and of themselves. But good Lord, man. Those of you who are unfamiliar with Silver King's in-ring work, but know that it's an obscure way to know him. But for instance, my wife watched Nacho Libre, and she was like, "Oh, the bad guy from Nacho Libre." I'm like, "Yeah, Ramses. They had the gold mask." He actually, I didn't know this. He actually wrestled as Ramses on the indie scene for a while after that movie came out. Did you know that?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. And I also didn't realize this. He's brothers with Dr. Wagner Jr. and the son of Dr. Wagner. So that's great heritage. But he was only 51. This sucks, man. Gone way too soon. Gone.
I didn't know it was like that, though, when I first heard it. I just thought he passed away in his bed or something.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was seeing, like, tweets. I didn't hear the news. I'm seeing these tweets. It was like, man, thoughts and prayers go out to Silver King's family, and and to Juventud as well. And I was like, the hell? What the hell is going on? And at first I just saw Hoovy's name, and I'm like, dude, something happened to Hoovy. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh crap, Hoovy was wrestling him. And this happened. Like, jeez Louise. Not good stuff, dude. But yeah, sorry to, bring everybody down right off the bat, but I just, felt that we needed to talk about it since we didn't get to it last week. Very unfortunate situation. Before we take our first break, we'll take our break later on down the line, but I do want to direct everybody to DramaCityProductions.com/PWS. That's our site, or our page on the site. There you can listen to all the archived episodes. You can click on merch or more merch. Takes you to our abundant merchandise websites. There's a ton of different designs for cheap. You can get on a bunch of different merch. It's good quality stuff. Just take my word for it. You don't even have to take my word for it. Just go check it out. It's good. They all got good reviews, good stuff, and a ton of different stuff to choose from, like design-wise. Most of it's blue, I will say that, because that's our main color. So I mean, take that for what it is. But yeah, go check that out. Again, DramaCityProductions.com/PWS. Our YouTube page, I'm going to try to show a little bit more love to here soon. It is youtube.com/podcast wrestling society. Check that out. Subscribe, comment, check all the archived episodes in video form on there if you don't feel like, downloading a podcast app or something like that. Or if you're just trolling around on YouTube and want to check us out, go do that. We try to put clips up there as well as full archived episodes and other fun extra stuff as well. And finally, we don't cover a lot of wrestling news here anymore. So go to WrestlingWithWrestling.com. They got all that stuff, plus other great podcasts, interviews with various wrestlers, some great personalities on there, great stuff, show results from around the world, big time and small time wrestling. Good stuff. WrestlingWithWrestling.com, covering all four corners of the ring. And one last thing before we get into our subject at hand, Greg, I was going to ask, so you're not going to Double or Nothing?
No, I wanted too much for the plane. So to save all my money for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I don't blame you there. Double or Nothing should be fun, but I mean, considering the trip you're going to get out of it for SummerSlam, I'd save my money as well. But for those of you that are going to Double or Nothing, we got a treat for you. Or if you're just going to watch it on pay-per-view, my buddy Taryn, who is in the radio industry, I met him there, and he has multiple sports podcasts, a wrestling podcast. He's very familiar with the mic. He said he would come on as my special guest post Double or Nothing to review the show. Should be some good stuff. Should be fun. We'll talk that. If we can hook up with you as well, Greg, we'll make it a three-man band, baby. And
triple threat.
Hell yeah. I'm the fun one.
Sure, yeah, sure.
You remember when Jinder Mahal did that, where he was like, "I'm the fun one" or whatever, and he just like stared at the camera like blank expression.
No, I don't. That sounds so stupid, though.
I laughed at the time. I mean, the gimmick was god awful, but yeah.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah, it was so bad that Drew McIntyre left WWE, got serious again, and then came back. He was like, look, I'm going to leave long enough to get the stank of this gimmick off of me, and then I'll come back and be worth something again. Jinder Mahal took a hiatus, came back with abs, and became
won the WWE title.
Yeah, and now he's a jobber again, so, whatever. But good stuff. Heath Slater, still a jobber. But whatever.
Actually, wrestle to be a jobber, dude.
Isn't he on Main Event here and there?
I think so.
I thought you said he just jobbed out to Mojo Rawley like a week or two ago.
That's right, he did, yeah.
Yeah, Mojo Rawley, who somebody pointed out, looks like somebody's bad creator wrestler on 2K.
I'm not going there. I know where we're going. I'm leaving it alone.
No, I wasn't going there at all. I was just saying somebody pointed it out. It was like, dude, because somebody like took a screenshot of him like during his entrance. They were like, man, these creative superstars are getting really realistic. Spent a lot of time on this one.
Over 100 hours. Anyways.
Oh God. But anyway, before we get into
Yeah,
I know. Before we get into our first break, I feel like we should dive into why we're here. It's the nWo and WWE. In my opinion, it started off cool and then just quickly took a dump. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's get into the cool part of it here. Make any comments, and stop me. Feel free to interrupt me anytime with any interjections of anything you remember or whatever. After the WWF bought the WCW video library and trademarks in 2001, Vince McMahon brought in Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, and Kevin Nash, the original nWo. They made their debut at No Way Out as hired thugs in an attempt to, quote, kill the WWF so that Vince McMahon would not have to share power with the new kayfabe co-owner, Ric Flair. For those of you that don't remember, this was like the storyline that, not the nWo, but this McMahon-Flair storyline was what started the first brand split. When did that actually happen, Greg?
Right, WrestleMania.
Okay. So I remember that, and they made a big deal out of it in one of the old SmackDown games. So this was a cool time, in my opinion, in the WWE, WWF, whatever the hell. Did you have the... did you have a GameCube back in the day?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, I know we're digressing with video games here, but, it was for a reason. I remember I had WrestleMania X8. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. The weirdest thing, because I didn't know, I was like 11, 12 years, I think I was 12 years old when that game came out, and I didn't know jack squat about copyright laws and this, that, the other, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't know. When the nWo came out in the video game, they had a weird dubbed theme, and I was like,
yeah.
what the hell is this?
I was kind of mad, to be honest.
Don't get me wrong, I loved the song, but the fact that it replaced Rock House, I was just like, what? And I was so confused, because I'm like, why are they able to come out to it on the show, but the game, nah. That's a no-go.
If I remember right, they took the Hardy Boys theme out, too. One of them. That might have been it.
It was a fun time, weird time, a lot of copyright silliness. There was a lot of copyright silliness with just all of the Invasion, the nWo. If you want to hear about the copyright stuff with the Invasion, go back. It's in the archives. We talk about the copyright stuff with the ECW name. But yeah, I remember I very vividly remember the promo where Vince McMahon is talking about he's going to inject poison into the WWF and kill his own creation. And he turns around in his chair, and nWo is spray painted on the back of his leather chair. But it was a great, very memorable promo. But yeah, No Way Out 2002. The event began with Vince McMahon introducing the nWo. Kevin Nash...
No, Vince never came out.
Well, you can blame Wikipedia for that crap. Screw you, Wikipedia. Because I just threw this together. Kevin Nash explained that the nWo wanted to prove that nobody was better than them. Scott Hall spoke briefly before Hollywood Hulk Hogan...
Sorry.
Wow. Scott Hall spoke briefly before Hollywood Hulk Hogan explained that the nWo didn't want to kill the WWF, but they wanted to be given a chance. Basically, they
want to make it better.
Yeah. They almost cut like a sarcastic babyface promo. Almost like, look, we're good guys, haha, fingers crossed behind our backs type of stuff, just gushing with sarcasm type stuff. But
I remember it was funny because no matter what they said, the crowd was cheering the hell out of them. So it's like, yep, that's a failed heel run right there. So
they should have known, dude. These guys were, I mean, they didn't come out of boxes or anything, but they were, these three hadn't been in WWE in over half a decade, and they were big stars in the WWE when they left. Bigger stars in WC, well, not Hogan bigger, but the other two, I'd say they were bigger stars in WCW. I don't know, that's arguable with Hall, but definitely Nash. Hogan revitalized his career in WCW for sure. And they set the wrestling world on fire. Of course they were going to get cheered with their big...
fire, bro! Gone forever!
Wow. But yeah, they were going to get a huge pop. Definitely. Like, no questions. They could have came out and just took a huge Elias-sized dookie all over the sports teams. I say that because he's recently become the master of crapping on sports teams. But, yeah, and, like, they still would have... The old, what Bischoff said about Ric Flair, he's like, they could have came to the ring lighting puppies on fire and stomping them out, and they still would have got cheered.
Yep.
So, kind of a bad calculation, but, whatever. They were the cool bad guys, and that's what their hook always was. Until they added Stevie F and Ray, but that's beside the point.
Yes, that was the cutoff.
Well... Okay, maybe VK Wall Street. But never mind. Getting back
Just shut up.
We're going to take our first break.
Vincent sure made it hot, but...
Well, damn right. Vincent. Big Vince. Later known as Shane, because, that's better.
Reasons.
Yeah. But the nWo began targeting the company's two biggest stars, Steve Austin and The Rock. We'll get into that when we come back from our first promo break to let you know about other great podcasts here on the Drama City Productions Podcast Network. When we return, we'll talk about everything leading up to WrestleMania X8. We'll be right back.
DramaCityProductions.com.
You don't listen to the heavyweight chumps? Well, they're only the greatest podcast that wrestles with pop culture. You don't believe us? Well, listen to some of their fans. And for those of you that don't speak cricket, here's our translator, Mr. Harlan T. Bobo.
It's like cotton candy in my ears right now, man.
The Heavyweight Chumps. You can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. Every Monday and Thursday, same fat time, same fat channel.
DramaCityProductions.com.
Small Town Mentality Podcast with your host Ben, a podcast about nothing and everything, a podcast where we get together with friends, drink beer, and see where the conversation takes us. We don't edit, we don't care what people say. It's small town people with a small town mentality. It gets offensive at times, lots of swearing, and a whole lot of not caring. Available everywhere you get podcasts. You can find us on Twitter at STMPod, on Instagram at STMPodcast, and on Facebook at Small Town Mentality Pod. We'll see you there.
All right, we're back. Now we're going into WrestleMania X8. We'll talk about the actual show here in a minute, but there's a lot of build-up to it. The Rock's involvement with the nWo started after... See, how you corrected me earlier about the Vince McMahon coming out thing? I like when you're on here, because I get these notes from other websites. I don't make them myself, people. I just, I have other stuff going on. Greg has other stuff going on. But one of us is going to catch the BS somewhere along the line. So it's nice to have a co-host here with me that's like not...
You just said Wikipedia's BS.
Well, I will say this. It got me through high school, and I got pretty good grades using Wikipedia. But if there are any kids listening that are still in school, don't listen to that. Do your own work.
Yeah, do it right. Get Cliff's Notes.
Damn right. Cliff Notes are... Hey, I don't know if the teachers as heavily monitor that as they monitor Wikipedia. If you copy and paste from Wikipedia, they will know. All right? Don't be an idiot. Anyway.
You gotta be a dumbass to do that.
I've known some people. The Rock's involvement with the nWo started after his win over The Undertaker at No Way Out, when a photo request from Hogan for his son turned into a trade of insults. Was this the famous one where he runs down all three members of the nWo?
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, Big Daddy Cool, Diesel. Freaking loved that damn promo, dude. Oh, man. On the following episode of Raw, The Rock interrupted Hogan's address to the crowd and challenged Hogan to a match at WrestleMania. When Hogan accepted and shook hands with his future opponent, The Rock kept the hold on and hit the rock bottom on Hogan. Before Rock could leave the arena, Hall and Nash ambushed The Rock. Hogan, Nash, and Hall then attacked The Rock with a belt, a hammer, and all three of their finishers, concluding the assault by spray painting the nWo initials on The Rock's back. I assume he was the first victim of that in the WWE.
No, Austin was the night before, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
they helped Jericho beat Austin the night before, so.
Okay, I'm building up to the Austin stuff, but some stuff is a little out of order here. I try to keep it in order, together by person, but we'll see how it all matches up. With medics attending to The Rock and loading him into an ambulance, it says ambulance van, that's weird. The nWo furthered the attack by forcing the medics to retreat, chaining up all possible exits of the van, and driving a semi-truck into the van with The Rock trapped inside. Man, we get attempted murder right here on Raw.
And Russo ain't even the creative.
I know, man. Well, just think, in about 17 years from here, we're going to get a gigantic man frequently tipping over large vehicles on Raw. And then there's going to be
one of them is ambulance, too.
Well, yeah, there's going to be an incident of Roman Reigns doing something very similar to this on said gigantic man. I don't know what WWE's obsession is with attempted murder, but it happened. On March 7th episode...
Bro, we're going to murder him. He's going to be gone forever.
Bro, we're going to try to kill him, bro, and he's going to be gone for 2 weeks, bro. On the March 7th episode of SmackDown, The Rock made his return and immediately challenged Hogan to a fight. Nash and Hall held Hogan back, leaving Hall to challenge for a match instead. Okay. Let's just put this in perspective here for a moment, Greg. Let's say you get into a fight with, we'll say, Ramon. And you and Ramon get into it. It turns out badly, and you're being loaded into an ambulance, and then he drives a gigantic truck into said ambulance and tries to murder you. You come back a couple weeks later, and you're ready to go. Is your first course of action like, hey man, I challenge you to a fight now?
Yeah.
Really? Wouldn't you? I don't know. I'm just saying, Triple H went after Randy Orton harder than this before WrestleMania. Busting into his house with a sledgehammer and such. And all Orton did was punt his family, okay? It wasn't even his family, it was his in-laws. So, I don't know. I feel like The Rock could have went a little harder on Hogan, not just, hey, you and me, let's get it on, in the ring.
Well, he's the face. Why is he going to go hard on him?
Like men. Hey, Triple H was a baby face, I think, kinda.
He's also the cerebral assassin, too, so.
Yeah. The Rock's match with Hall ended in a 3-on-1 attack by the nWo. The nWo's attack was stopped by Stone Cold Steve Austin, however, who saved The Rock with aid of a steel chair. On the March 11th episode of Raw, Rock and Austin took the nWo on in a handicap match, resulting in Hogan pinning The Rock after a leg drop. Brother! Do you think that worked?
I was going to say, the only time Hogan and Austin were in the ring together, I believe.
So sad. And I kind of get where, because... Bruce Pritchard was asked, why didn't you do Austin Hogan? And he was like, well, if we did, then you guys would be asking, why didn't you do Hogan and Rock? And it's like, would we, though?
But
yeah, was the match better? Maybe. We'll never know. And yeah, I get it that we couldn't see the future and they didn't know that Austin was leaving it after 19 and The Rock was going to stick around a little while longer. But at the same time, come on, dude. I also heard that Austin didn't really have much interest in working with Hogan. But that might be rumor and innuendo. Which we don't deal with here on this show. Stone Cold, here's Austin's side leading up to WrestleMania. Stone Cold Steve Austin's involvement also commenced at No Way Out, when after their gift of beer was refused, the nWo interfered with Austin's undisputed WWF Championship title match against Chris Jericho, helping Jericho to retain the title before spray painting nWo initials on Austin's back. Austin finally got his revenge on the February 21st episode of SmackDown when he chased the nWo out of the ring with a tire iron. Austin manages to catch Hall and attack him with a tire iron, but Hogan and Nash saved Hall from being run over by Austin's pickup truck. Wow. Here's Austin attempting murder here. Good God.
Murder, bro!
What is it with this? Like, you and I have a dispute in the ring, I'm going to literally try to kill you. This is like some Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov stuff here, man.
Yep.
I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. At Pod Rest Society, Purple Crayon is acceptable. Yeah, anyway.
It's not acceptable, it's encouraged, but whatever.
Exactly. Backwards R's, please. After the nWo found their limousine spray painted "What" by Austin, the latter kidnapped Hall and closed the show by embarrassing him in the middle of the ring with 316 spray painted on his back. I'm going to finish this, and then I got a question for you, because this is all just ridiculous. Talk about, like, I don't know if at this point they were like, yeah, Hall's a lost cause, let's bury him, or if they just buried him, not thinking about it, and then were like, yeah, screw him. On the following episode of Raw, Hall challenged Austin to a match at WrestleMania, which Austin accepted afterwards. The feud between Austin and the nWo continued back and forth for the next couple of weeks, with Austin attacked by Hall twice with a cinder block and a wrench, while Austin fired a net gun at Nash before beating down Hall. God dang it.
Real quick about that net gun. If I remember correctly, something happened in the middle of it, and they had to actually refilm it at SmackDown.
Wow. That's... Wow, I don't even know what to say to that one. You know what, man? We got to redo the net gun spot. I don't think that's ever been said ever in wrestling. It's like Austin just pops out of nowhere. What's good? Bam!
What's funny is, I think, if I remember right, Nash is like, he's got a gun! Like, hella serious about it.
And then he blows his quad.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. This was before
You're getting ahead again.
Quad, but yeah. Ah, man, this was... Why? But my question here was the, where he kidnapped Hall and then spray painted him, was that the same Raw where he duct taped him to a chair and poured beer all over him?
I think it was SmackDown. It was, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, for those of you out there, just think about that for a minute. Scott Hall was supposedly a recovering alcoholic. And,
I like that. Good disclaimer.
Yeah. And then Austin, in a backstage segment, duct taped him, including his mouth, so he couldn't speak, and tell him, hey, don't do that. And he poured beer, and not working beer, this was shooting beer, all over him. Why? That seems like...
That's about as bad as the Jerry Lawler, Jake the Snake thing.
Except that, you're right, except I think that was more working booze than anything. Same like with the CM Punk, Chris Jericho.
No, Jake said it was real alcohol, and he was really pissed that they didn't tell him.
What?
It's in Jake's documentary, the WWE one, yeah.
Wow. I would have never guessed that.
It's like he could have used apple juice or something, but he used actual whiskey. He
okay.
was more mad that hurt his eyes than anything. But
well, yeah, that would be awful. I've never had booze in my eyes, but I can imagine. But yeah, just that whole thing was so distasteful and messed up. I think I would like to think that Jericho and CM Punk used working booze when he smashed that Jack Daniels or whatever it was over Punk's head. You remember that?
I do, yeah.
I can guarantee, because Punk has never brought it up, and there's never been anything Punk has not whined about, So I would assume that was, fake. Plus, Jericho, I can't see him being that big of a dick. But could be wrong. I don't know. These rivalries, anyway, led up to, the show, man. WrestleMania X8. Scott Hall with Kevin Nash in his corner went up against Stone Cold, and Hulk Hogan went up against The Rock. I'll say I don't really remember the quality of the Hall and Austin match. How was it?
It was decent.
Yeah.
It was what it was. It could have been a lot worse, I'll say that.
All right. Well, I haven't went back and watched it, so I don't have any firsthand. But my biggest takeaway here is, why was Kevin Nash doing nothing except being the corner man for Hall that night?
I think it's because they actually pulled the trigger early on Undertaker being a heel.
That could be it. My other thing that I heard, I can't remember if Pritchard clarified this or not, but from what I had heard, they weren't 100% secure and positive that Hall was even going to show up. So he was like, or if he did show up, be in condition to work. So from what I hear, Nash was the backup.
That's a very fair assumption.
Yeah.
I hate saying that because I love Scott Hall, but his reputation says so.
If you guys want more, validation for that, he literally no-showed a TNA pay-per-view. And Samoa Joe kind of shot on him on the mic. If you want to believe rumor and innuendo, Nash was not aware that was going to happen, and he pimp slapped him in the back. So, I don't know. But the NWO lost both of these matches that night.
Oh, man, yeah, that was rough, because I still think that Hogan should have won.
Probably, yeah. Hogan got a huge ovation that night. The Rock got a little bit cheered, but I mean, it wasn't like totally. It wasn't like. Well,
Hogan got like Jesus' second coming cheered.
Yeah, he got maybe more. But yeah, you're right. It wasn't completely one-sided, but it was fairly in Hogan's favor. They were in Toronto, right? The Sky Dome in Toronto. So that's like Hogan's.
Yeah, I'll be there soon. Sorry.
Yeah, good for you. But that's like Hogan's other home turf.
Well, that Montreal especially.
Yeah, wasn't that where Hogan? That was the home of WrestleMania 6, right? The Sky Dome.
Sky Dome, yes.
Yeah. So that was Hogan's big return at WrestleMania in the Sky Dome. He did the job twice. So
they called it a Sky Dome jinx.
If you guys want to see Hulk Hogan do the job at WrestleMania, make sure it's booked in the Sky Dome, brother.
Sky Dome lost. That works for me, brother.
Wow. He stroked his Fu Manchu. Losing in Canada. That works for me, brother.
Too bad it didn't work for Bret Hart. And different story.
Oh, my God. But yeah, just to wrap up before our break here, as a result of Hogan shaking hands with The Rock after their match and getting a positive response from the crowd at Mania, he turned face and began feuding with Hall and Nash, with The Rock and Kane at his side on occasions. I ran through a lot there. There's a lot I skipped. They said that I guess Hogan Hogan flew from Toronto back home and then to where Raw was going to be the next night so he could go home and get his red and yellow gear. And
they decided not to.
Yeah, and like they didn't want to pull the trigger. I think it was smart. I don't think he should have come out on Raw and was like, "I'm a good guy now, brother. I'm in red and yellow." But I mean, they flipped him the next night. Didn't he like have a big showdown with Hall and Nash?
Yeah, he didn't turn red and yellow until he was feuding with Triple H.
Yeah, so which I don't know when that came up, because
a couple of weeks later, to head into Backlash.
Okay. And I don't know if I mean, you're a huge Hogan mark, so I know what your reaction is going to be, but I might be in the minority here. I don't know. I haven't polled people. You guys can let us know on social media. I was a big fan of Hollywood Hogan during this period. Like
During this period, yes.
I was all in for the Jimi Hendrix song, the red and yellow boas, the whole entrance, his run as WWE champ yet again. Like, I was all in for that, man. I realized I was like 12, 13 years old, but, you know, still, today I'd be in for it, you know? Well, let me clarify. If I was the age I am now, back then, I'd be in for it. If they tried that today with Hulk Hogan in his condition right now, I'd be like, go home, brother. Not saying I don't want to see him. Just saying I don't want to see him wrestle ever again. No, thank you. I don't want to watch your hip explode when you try to do the leg drop. All right. I care about this. I care about the safety and well-being of Hulk Hogan. But before we get into the post-Hogan era of the nWo and WWE, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up here with the nWo. Brother, we'll be right back.
DramaCityProductions.com.
Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to rise.
Do you like comedy, karaoke, and music history? Check out Karaoke Big E with your hosts Kevmo and Big E every Tuesday on your favorite podcast app of choice. And remember, you can't be a star if you don't shine.
All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly to the light of day.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses.
All right, we are back from our last commercial break or promo break, whatever you want to call it. Let's wrap this up here. Talk about the nWo. After Hogan left, like they'd only been around for a month, and it's already jumped the shark.
Yeah, I was confused by it too, and then I started thinking, was this whole thing just to get Hogan back?
I think so. I don't think they
That's
much.
what it felt like.
I don't think they much cared about Nash or Hall. Definitely not Hall, because it seemed like they couldn't trust him from the get-go.
Which again is very fair.
Yeah, but Hall and Nash brought in former nWo member X-Pac on March 21st, 2002, on an episode of SmackDown in Ottawa, Ontario. Because, you know, if you want to get anything over, you got to do it in Ottawa, Ontario.
Yeah. But the thing is that they're big in Canada. I mean...
Well, Hogan's big in Canada. Is the nWo itself big in Canada?
I mean, Hogan is, and he was part of the whole thing, so...
Yeah. Well, either way, X-Pac is back now. Six-Pac, whatever. So that one wasn't such an odd fit for me. I was like, okay, whatever. They brought in their Click Buddy. He was in, and he was one of the original 4 in WCW, wasn't he?
Original 5, I think.
Who was the other that I'm missing? Was
Big Slow.
Was Big... Did they bring in the Giant before X-Pac?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Actually, I think they brought in Ted DiBiase before Giant, too. I think.
Well, they did bring in Ted, because I remember on our Big Show episode, now in the archives, he talked about the reason he was joining the nWo was because of DiBiase's money. So, there was that. But I thought 6 was around before that. Oh well. Either way, on March 25th, the nWo, now consisting of Nash, Hall, and Pac, was drafted by Ric Flair.
Whoa, Pac!
Oh, not the current wrestling Pac. The other one. The original Pac was drafted by Ric Flair to Raw, despite rivaling against him That's so weird. I'm going to draft 3 men at once because.
Well, no, they had made it clear. They made it clear that the nWo was drafted as a whole.
Giggity.
Vince had already said that.
Yeah, that's.
No, not a whole. Whole.
Yeah.
HOLE. Sorry. Anyways.
What the hell? For the next 2 weeks, the nWo feuded with Kane until he was lured backstage by X-Pac and was put out of action by having his head smashed with a chair. Wait a minute, that puts him out of action? Like, was it just for the night, or...
No, I think he was gone
forever, bro.
I guess because nothing else really happens. So X-Pac takes his mask and starts like parading it around. He comes out with it. He comes out with it on a couple times too.
Yeah, and that was his black mask with the red spikes, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's out until like September. So when he comes back, there is no more nWo. He actually comes back and starts feuding with the Un-Americans. So like literally, that's it.
I remember that because he came back out. And me and my dad were like, "Is that effing Kane?" Like,
yeah,
what?
He went with a brand new mask, which was probably their way of getting rid of that old one. But yeah.
Well, he had a new mask. Plus, he was like hella skinny. Like he wasn't all bulky anymore. I actually have a Jax figure of this Kane. It was the one where he was in the tank top that was like half see-through,
and the mouthpiece is and the mouth is open, right? The part over his mouth, it's.
Not this era of Kane. No, wait. Are you talking about?
That's the new mask that he came back with. Is when the mouth was open. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about. I have a Jax figure of the other Kane, like pre-injury.
Well, I'm sure you have a Jax figure of this one too.
Actually, I do not. I have a Jax figure of.
Wow, then you're not a real collector. You fail then.
Wow. No, I have a Jax figure of Kane once he first went shirtless, and he was bald.
Yes, but do you have corporate Kane? Anyways.
Hell no. But I have Malibu Barbie Kane. Does that work? No? Outback Kane?
I don't know what to say to that.
You know what? I'm still hoping for a tag team. Corporate Kane and Corporate Corbin. It needs to happen, man. I don't know what they're waiting to pull the trigger on, but whatever.
The devil's favorite libertarian and everyone's son, or everyone's favorite son.
Yeah.
That's money right there, dude.
Hell yeah. But anyway, back to this. Following this, Kevin Nash was suspended for attacking Kane in storyline to recover on his injured bicep. Good lord, he's already injured. X-Pac would begin wearing Kane's mask, as you said, taunting him on the fact that he put him out of action. Bradshaw, who had come to Kane's aid, fought Scott Hall at Backlash, which Hall won with help from X-Pac. Well, yes, because...
Going back real quick to what we were talking about earlier, I remember on the DVD of this, he comes out to the dubbed nWo theme, too.
Wow.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yet when they finally get the rights back to this song, they're like, hey, Nash, you're just going to come out to this from now on.
Yep.
No reason, you just are. But anyway. Yeah. Bradshaw versus Scott Hall. I'm sure that was just something. A guy...
That was a barn burner, dude. What are you talking about?
Oh, hell yeah. A guy who loves to drink and advertises it, and a guy who loves to drink and should probably lay off. You decide which is which.
I think they're both for both, actually. That might have been a trick one.
Yeah. Maybe. Big Show.
You go tell the big rough Texan stop drinking and see how that works. Have fun with that.
I'm good. No, I'm fine. Big Show rejoined the nWo on the April 22nd episode of Raw.
God!
Now in the archive.
This is where it started dying, in my opinion, and it was so good at first.
Yep. And I will say, it just sucked because the Big Show sucked. It didn't suck because it was like, dude, why is he in the nWo? Because, I mean, he was back in WCW. But,
Twice.
Yeah, twice. But, why? Either way, this is when Flair teamed up teamed up with Big Show with Austin. I can't get these freaking notes right. Let me see. Let me try that again. Big Show rejoined the nWo, April 22nd episode of Raw, when Flair teamed him up with Austin, whom Big Show chokeslammed. There you go. Finished it.
Yeah.
All of this is confusing. The nWo was shortly joined by Ric Flair when he attacked Steve Austin with a chair, and Hall was ejected out of the group and fired from Raw for, quote, repeatedly dropping the ball on Stone Cold. That was their way of saying, have fun in rehab.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to be a dick. He went to rehab after this, if I remember correctly.
Apparently he relapsed in the middle of all this, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Austin pouring beer on him probably didn't
help. That's you're not wrong. It's an easy excuse, though. Come on. And the guy's relapsed enough times in his life now, it'd be like, it was bound to happen. So. Well,
yeah, if any of you have seen the 30 for 30 on him, like, good Lord, that was...
And I'm not making fun of him because I love Scott Hall. I was a huge mark for him. It sucks to see.
Yeah.
You know,
well, yeah.
Something I'm poking fun at.
It sucked when the, quote, the band showed up in TNA, and he was wearing his...
I smell another podcast. Sorry.
Oh, definitely. Well, when he showed up in his old trunks and everything, and his like, he was hardcore, like, muffin topping over it, like, huge gut, and somebody was like, good to see Scott Hall showed up in shape for this match. I was like, oh, God.
Hey, DDP Yoga saved him, though. He's fine now. So.
Yeah, thank God. Hopefully he stays clean for the rest of his days.
Yeah, literally, thank God, please.
Yeah, and
great.
Right here, in actuality, Hall had asked for his release for personal reasons. Rehab. Lacking members, Ric Flair would recruit Booker T and continue his feud with Austin. First of all...
Yeah, go
ahead. First of all, why the hell is Ric Flair associated with the nWo, which historically...
Okay, first of all, he never wore a shirt. He was just supporting them. So he was never in the nWo.
Yeah, but he was like a supporting member.
Right. But he was the evil GM of Raw. So
still stupid given their history. WWE's they'll never remember.
Well, no one really does. Except for our 12 listeners. Anyways. When Booker T joined, I remember it was so random because I think, if I remember right, Flair said someone new is going to join the nWo tonight. And then later that is segment, Booker T's in the ring, and I guess there's a bunch of people, and Flair says, meet the newest member of the nWo, and he kind of looks around and goes, Booker T! And Booker T was kind of shocked, and then just starts attacking people for the nWo. So, it wasn't like planned or anything. Oh, man, obviously it's planned, but he looked shocked, like, what? Oh, okay, I'm part of him now. That's how I remember it. I may have to go back and reacquaint myself with that episode, but I remember being like, that looked like Booker was shocked to me.
Yeah. And it went over like a wet fart. It's just, to me, this was when it was like, it had already jumped the shark, but this was like, just like the final nail. It's like, you guys are done. Go home.
Well, there were like 3 or 4 big-time players in WCW that never joined. There's Booker, DDP, Flair, well, maybe only 3. Oh, and Goldberg. They put them all in there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Thank God DDP never joined. But, yeah, so this continued Booker T's feud with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin defeated Big Show and Flair in a handicap match at Judgment Day because...
Oh, if you haven't seen that, man, that's a technical masterpiece.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming it's up there with Flair and Steamboat 1, 2, and 3.
Combined.
Oh, yeah. Multi-stars. All the stars.
We're talking like Tokyo Dome times 3 stars, man.
Good Lord.
Just for the record, it sucked. Sorry.
Oh, no, you take that back. The Booker T, now in the group, his sidekick Goldust attempted and failed many times to get in, giggity, with the rest of the members, X-Pac and Big Show, becoming frustrated at Booker. With Nash,
this was the debut of Black Reign, by the way. He came out dressed in the black and white, so
yeah,
the unofficial debut.
I don't know timeline here, but I specifically remember Goldust dressing up as like Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter.
It was after this when they started teaming together. Yeah, it's pretty close then.
Because I remember he walked into the nWo locker room and like I think Big Show was like distracted and X-Pac was sleeping or something, and he was like, "Oh, here's a wild something or other," and he was like, "Be careful, they tend to suck," and then he runs away and they chase him. I was like, my God, like Goldust, like was he the one where they're like, we really need to embarrass these former WCW guys, throw them in there with Goldust.
Pretty much.
And then it was like, where's Triple H? Bury him. They're good and embarrassed.
Those are his friends.
Yeah. But, well, I'm not talking about Triple H buried the NWO, but, you know, the WCW talent as a whole, usually. With Nash returning and attempting to rebuild the NWO, he brought Shawn Michaels into the faction on June 3rd's episode of Raw. This is something I never thought I would see, by the way. I almost crapped my pants. Like, were you watching this live?
Yes.
What was
I like Nash's promo before it, too. He goes, you know, sometimes these announcements don't live up to the hype, but this one will. But I lost it, though. It's like, is he back? Is he wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, I was excited, but at the same time, I'm like, Shawn Michaels is in the NWO? What the hell is going on? Like, he was literally the rival faction in the rival company.
Yep.
Whatever.
So he joined X-Pac. He's the only guys to be in both, I believe.
Yeah. It would have been cool if if Triple H would have joined, in my opinion, and just like have like a click reunion.
Well, they were getting to that, but you're getting ahead.
Yeah.
That was coming. You can tell, too.
Well, Michaels then...
That was definitely on its way.
Well, his first night in, Michaels literally kicked Booker T out of the NWO. Oh, I'm sorry, a week later, he kicked Booker T out of the NWO. Because didn't he say something just doesn't fit or whatever?
Yeah,
and he just like super kicked Booker T. It was like, it's you! You're out! Yeah, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but... Anyway.
Yeah, and then there was the freaking keyboard warriors took offense because he kicked the black guy out, and that's why it was.
Oh God, there's something doesn't fit here. It's clearly the black guy. Like, okay, trust me, people. He didn't fit. All right, like it never should have happened.
Yeah, Booker T is great. He does not need the NWO. I mean, not that the other ones, the Michaels did, but he wasn't wrestling, to be fair. So.
Right, they needed to do something with him. More star power, at the very least. Michaels, then in the midst of a 4-year retirement from professional wrestling, became the first nWo member who had never wrestled in WCW. So there you go. Michaels and Nash then would set their sights on recruiting Triple H by using threats and demands, implying that they would recreate on screen their old backstage group, The Click. This storyline was never finished. Why?
No. Well, we're coming to it.
All right. Well, not to get ahead here, I guess. On July 8th, Nash returned to action on Raw, teaming up with Eddie Guerrero, X-Pac, Big Show, and Chris Benoit to take on Booker T, Goldust, Bubba Ray Dudley, Spike Dudley, and Rob Van Dam. So, Booker T, Goldust, and ECW guys. Cool. Seconds after... Oh, God. I see it. Seconds after tagging in for the first time, Nash tore his quad after delivering a big boot onto Booker T, immediately putting him back on the injured list.
We can literally wrap this up right now because this is the end of their run.
Yeah. Well, on the following Raw on July 15th, Vince McMahon came out to the ring and came out to the ring to the entrance of the NWO and made the announcement that the group was officially disbanded as Eric Bischoff became the Raw GM. Damn. Like, everything could have, like, this could have been,
well,
like,
clearly it was building to it. I mean, think about it.
Building up to be awesome. And then that.
So,
it was about to get good. Like,
so according to rumor and innuendo, Conrad, sorry, I had to get one in. Apparently, Triple H was going to join them and win the title from The Undertaker at Vengeance.
Man.
And it never happened, so they threw the Rock and Angle in there, and Rock won. And then Triple H, as champion in the NWO, is going to face Brock at SummerSlam.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
and of course, he was going to be part of the NWO. They were going to, the rumor again was they were going to help him beat The Undertaker. And they would control the title.
Yeah. And it would have been so cool. Bischoff could come in and lead him. The Clique.
I didn't hear that, but I still assume that was the plan. I mean, it sounded right to me.
Yeah. Bischoff said they never mentioned anything like that to him, but I mean, they might have.
Maybe they did. Maybe they did, but that was clearly where it would have went. I would like to think.
I would assume so, especially the fact that he came in as a heel and instantly pumped up Triple H as the guy on the Raw brand. So
yeah.
But afterwards,
well, you know what? Plans changed. So.
Hashtag plans changed. Get it trending. Hashtag Uncle Dave. Hashtag 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome. That might be a little long, but whatever.
I can't take him a cracks at him because I might get blocked. He said I only have one more chance.
Oh man, and you don't want to mess with him. You peed next to him once.
Shut up.
Afterwards, the NWO storyline was stopped, and the remaining members drifted apart. Michaels returned to active competition within weeks. Big Show was eventually traded to SmackDown, and X-Pac was released from his contract.
You want to talk about implosion?
Man, it sucks,
hey,
man.
Everybody was pissed about Booker getting kicked out of there. How do they feel now? I mean,
yeah, right. Booker got off easy. Well, plus the fact, my thing is like with X-Pac, like how the mighty have fallen. Not that he was like a big deal as the 1-2-3 kid, but they always said that like he was used as like the measurement of like, hey, we need to know if this guy is good. Get in there and work with him. And like they even did that with. He said he was one of Nash's first opponents when he came into WWE. He was like, dude, it was like wrestling a cement mixer. But yeah, he was like the guy that was like, can he go? Is he good? And now it's like, yeah, we're not going to renew your contract, Sean. Like, bye. Sucks. Anyway, on August 11th, 2014, on an episode of Raw, which aired on Hulk Hogan's 61st birthday, god dang, I didn't realize he was that old, it featured Scott Hall and Kevin Nash as guests. The two shared a moment with Hogan, revealing an NWO shirt hidden under his Hulk Rules shirt. They were interrupted by Brock Lesnar, who told Hogan, "Party's over, Grandpa." Lesnar backed out of the ring when confronted by John Cena, his opponent at SummerSlam. The rest of these are just sporadic appearances I'll mention. On January 19th, 2015, on an episode of Raw, X-Pac, who had joined as 6 in WCW, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash came out for a survey segment. You know, if you think about it, that was the band in TNA right there. Nash, Hall,
yeah,
Pac.
that includes me thinking about it though. So no.
Why wouldn't you want to think about the band?
Oh, that's right. It did have Bubba the Love Sponge, if I remember correctly. Yeah, you're right.
And Eric
Let's
Young.
talk about that.
You remember Eric Young was a part of the band?
I forgot till now.
Yeah, now you remember. You're welcome. At first, they came out. At first, they came out to a ripoff of the NWO theme, and then they came out to an instrumental version of the Wolfpack theme. And they randomly switched their colors from white and black to red and black. No explanation. It just happened. But anyway, they came out and they were interrupted.
Let's just talk about that name, by the way, The Band. How original.
And they took it because Nash is famous. The Band is back together. And they just called him The Band. Dumb. By the way, how is that not trademark infringement, by the way? Because there is a musical group called The Band. So I don't know.
That's lazy, too.
Yeah. Well. But they were interrupted by the Ascension, who...
Because why not?
Yeah. If any of you out there have forgotten who they are, in current day WWE, I wouldn't blame you. But I do have their autograph. I am a fan. But they were then beaten down by the NWO, the APA, and the New Age Outlaws. So
again, because why the hell not?
Yeah, two big young guys got beat up by a bunch of old men. There you go. And the final thing I have here, you have fond memories of this. I did pop for it. But on March 29th at WrestleMania 31, Hogan, Nash, and Hall returned to assist their longtime rival Sting at WrestleMania at his WrestleMania debut match against Triple H. The NWO helped fight off D-Generation X, which was X-Pac, Billy Gunn, and Road Dogg, who had interfered on behalf of Triple H. Shawn Michaels later joined Triple H's side, turning the match in his favor, and Triple H would go on to win the match. There were so many things here, like, why are they coming out to help Sting?
Because they're WCW, all of them.
Yeah, but they historically hated WCW. Like, their whole thing was they feuded against it. I don't know. It was cool for a pop, I'll say, so whatever. Nostalgia pop! And it was what it was. But that wraps up the NWO in WWE, mercifully. We went a tad long here, but there's a lot to cover. I put up a poll, bro, on Twitter. I asked, out of these three, what was the worst addition to the NWO that WWE had made? Oddly enough, 47% voted for Shawn Michaels. The options were Shawn Michaels, Booker T, and The Big Show. Booker T...
Are they just, like, trolling with that? Because there's no way in hell.
Yeah, Shawn got 47. Big Show was in second place with 33. And Booker was in third place with 20. I don't get that. Like, how is Booker the least of the worst additions? Shawn Michaels at least kind of made sense, especially with where you figured the storyline was going.
Opinion. It's
freaking weird. But whatever. But anyway, next week, ladies and gents, we're going to be switching it up like I talked about earlier. This is our final show before Double or Nothing, the very first official AEW show. I don't know how it's going to look. I've only seen a couple matches so far that have been booked. I haven't really studied the card.
Apparently they just added a couple, actually. Hold on. You just saw it.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with it.
Well, Jericho and Omega's all I really care about. Everything else is extra to me.
What? Who's? Cody and Dustin. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to the Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks. I mean, sure, that'll be a hashtag flippy crap spot fest, but it'll be fun. Joey Ryan will not be there, so I'll be happy about that. I don't know. Do you think? They have a TV deal, so I guess they don't really need an audition tape anymore or a demo reel.
They just added. I think it's Trent Beretta and Chucky T.
Oh,
Angelico and Jack Evans.
They signed Angelico? Wow. Wow. That's you don't want to talk about a hashtag flippy crap spot fest. There's going to be two of them that night. For those of you unfamiliar with Angelico and Jack Evans, go back and watch some Lucha Underground. Crazy. All right, that's all I can say. But good. It could be good stuff. Could not be. I don't know. I'm anxious to see the kind of product they're going to put out there, especially now that they're going to be on TNT. That's official, right?
It's all but.
Okay.
I guess they have to wait to officially say it until Wednesday, I believe, when TNT announces their fall lineup or something like that.
Well,
because Fox just announced theirs today, and like we didn't know it, but they officially put SmackDown. It's going to be 2 hours, by the way, not 3, like they were rumored. Thank God.
Oh gosh, yeah. There's only so much of one show in one sitting I can take, and if you're not Avengers Endgame, I'm not that invested for 3 hours. So
it's a no for me, dog.
It's not gonna work for me, brother. Figured I'd keep it in line with the theme of today. But yeah, so next week, since we're putting this in the can early, next week we'll do a rundown of what happened at Double or Nothing. We'll see if there's any unexpected run-ins or expected run-ins. I don't know. We'll talk about the matches, give a different take on it. I will be joined by my buddy Taryn, and I hope you can join, Greg. We are going to be...
Yeah, depends on when, but I probably might be able to. All
right, cool. I'll let you know. And yeah, so check out that for next week. Breaking from the format a little bit. We don't really have a format anymore. We just kind of do whatever we want, whatever we think will get you people to tune in and keep listening. Again, we went a little long this week, but yeah, it was fun. I hope you had fun too, Greg.
I did. I always like walking back down the crap memory lane.
Oh, hell yeah, that's the best. But anyway, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, it was fun. Ish.
And next week...
I'm liberal with that word, but... Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, next week, we might bring you the triple threat. Later.
This has been a Drama City production.